Hello everybody. So I've had a lot of questions from people asking me how to get fine details in an oil pastel painting. So while I was working on my current painting, I decided to do a little bit of a video for you recording my process. Now, it was a painting of a horse, and I knew I wanted to do a lot of fine hairs on the horse's mane. So what I did is I took some odorless mineral spirits and using a glass stopper, I put the odorless mineral spirits in like a little palette. And once this was done, I took a bit of shavings of different colors of pastel. In the cases where it was just going to be, for example, white or a color that I had, I would literally just take the shavings of those colors and that would be that. In this particular instance, in what I was recording, I decided to blend two different colors to create a new color. In this case, I believe it was Cocoa from Neopastel and a sort of I don't know what color, I would call it a bluish gray tone. In this case, it was because I wanted to show some of the finer hairs, but I wanted the blue to shine through so that it would appear as if they were in more shadow. Once the shavings were in the odorless mineral spirits, just using a simple toothpick, I would mix and blend until it was a nice smooth paste. Now, in this particular instance here, continuing on with the video, what I always do, since it is a large painting, I put down a sheet, in this particular instance, it was wax paper, because wax paper is very good with oil pastel because the wax in the paper does not necessarily stick or pick up the oil pastel underneath it. And in putting it under the little palette that I have, I'm protecting it just in case there might be any splatters or something when I am going with the brush in the little holes in the palette. I often vary between colors. I look at sections. I usually try to start with a medium tone or a darker tone, and I go lighter. You may notice a little bit to the right side, there's like a little whitish patch. This is just a simple paper serviette that I sometimes used if I was painting the dark color first, and then I needed to go into the white tone. So just so that it didn't necessarily dirty the white, I would wipe it off very quickly in the napkin. Now, one little thing I do want to say, it's a very, 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 very important thing, is if you are doing this, please do this either outside or in a very, very well ventilated area. You can't tell in the photograph or in the video, but I actually have the patio door open right beside me. And the reason for this is, even though they are odorless mineral spirits, and that is very deceptive in terms of it being odorless, the solvent still releases its fumes and you are still breathing in, and the only difference is they don't smell. So please be very, very careful. I know when I first started doing this technique, I didn't realize this and I would get very dizzy, nauseous, even having a headache. I have learned since then. It happened 1 or 2 times and I said never again. So always outdoors, and or if inside, definitely a well ventilated area. So in this particular case, you can see I'm just slowly making my way through the painting, just adding lines wherever I feel they need to go. These are for the finest, finest, finest lines. If I'm doing something that isn't quite as fine and I don't need to use the brush, just very, very lightly pressing the pastel stick on the surface will suffice. But since I had to go very, very, very fine, I did have to do this method. If I were doing this and it was only a very, very small section, I wouldn't even bother with putting the palette in the whole scene or in the picture. What I would do in that case is I would just take a pastel stick, I would run my brush through the odorless mineral spirits, just dab it onto the pastel to pick up some color and paint that way. But for larger areas, definitely it comes in very handy to make your own almost paste or paint out of the oil pastels. From experience, I will tell you, you can do this with all oil pastels. To get the thickest, creamiest paste, Sennelier works wonderfully. I know a lot of people through all my videos hear me bragging about Sennelier, how wonderful they are, but really Sennelier does give wonderful coverage. If I want something slightly more transparent, I have two options. I can either add more mineral spirits and less oil pastels, or what else I can do is I just go with another brand, and they do tend to come out a little bit more transparent than the Sennelier. So guys, I hope this helped. I hope the video showed you a little bit of my process, and it's given you some ideas of what you can do in yours. It's just a very, very quick, short video. When I was filming to do this main, it actually took me about 45 minutes in total. Clearly, I wasn't going to show you the whole process. I think it would be rather boring to see everything because I'm repeating the same steps over and over and over again. And the good thing with this technique is if you do happen to put a stroke somewhere and you don't like how it appears, let it dry in about a minute or two, and just you can rub over it with your finger, blend it into the background, and then you can redo it with another color or put the hair in a different position, something that you find more appealing to you. All right, so guys, here it is. This is a little bit of the process. Keep painting, keep smiling. Have a great day, everybody. All right, bye-bye.